The air in Ahmedabad was thick with the early morning heat of June 12th. On the tarmac, Air India Flight AI-171, a modern Boeing 787 Dreamliner, sat gleaming under the sun. It was fully fueled, ready for its long journey to London Gatwick. Inside, 229 passengers and 12 crew members settled in, their minds already on their destinations. Family reunions, business meetings, new beginnings. The engine spooled up with a familiar, powerful hum, a sound of promise and routine. The jet began its ascent, climbing gracefully into the sky, a silver bird against the vast blue canvas. Everything was normal, until suddenly, it wasn't. Just moments after takeoff, something went catastrophically wrong. The aircraft, having reached an altitude of only 650 feet, began to falter. On the ground, witnesses looked up, their morning routines interrupted by the unnatural sound of struggling engines. The pilots, fighting for control, issued a desperate mayday call. It was a final, frantic plea for help that crackled over the airwaves before being swallowed by an unnerving silence. The Dreamliner, a symbol of modern aviation safety, plunged from the sky. It fell not into an empty field, but into a densely populated residential area, its path ending in a fiery collision with a medical college hostel. The impact was devastating. The aircraft, heavy with jet fuel, erupted into a massive fireball, sending a column of black smoke billowing into the sky that was visible for miles. The crash instantly became a scene of chaos and horror, a tragedy unfolding in real time. Of the 242 souls on board, all but one were lost. On the ground, the disaster claimed at least 19 more lives, including several medical students who had been in the hostel. This was not just a plane crash, it was a catastrophe that ripped through the heart of a community, leaving a scar that will take years to heal. The initial reports painted a grim and confusing picture. As first responders rushed to the scene, they were met with an inferno. The sheer scale of the destruction made their work almost impossible. What happened in those final terrifying moments aboard Flight AI-171? How could one of the world's most advanced airliners simply fall from the sky? These are the questions that now haunt investigators and families alike. The story of this crash is just beginning to unfold. If you find this content valuable, please subscribe to our channel, like this report, and share it to help us continue our coverage. Your comments and engagement are crucial as we seek the truth. Amid the wreckage and despair, an unbelievable story of survival emerged. Vishwas Kumar Ramesh, a 40-year-old British national, was found walking away from the crash site. He had only cuts and bruises. Seated in an emergency exit row, seat 11A, he was reportedly thrown clear as the fuselage split apart on impact. In a state of shock, his first instinct was to find a phone. He called his father, his voice trembling but clear, to deliver a message that defied all odds. "I have survived." He was the sole survivor of Flight AI-171, a single point of light in an overwhelming darkness, a walking miracle. But his survival was tinged with profound tragedy. Seated elsewhere on the plane was his brother, Ajay Ramesh. They had been traveling together, and now Vishwas Kumar was alone. Just days after being discharged from the hospital, where he was visited by India's Home Minister Amit Shah, Vishwas Kumar had to face the unimaginable. He found himself leading the funeral procession for the very brother he had been journeying with. His story is a complex tapestry of incredible luck and unbearable loss, a stark reminder of the random, cruel nature of fate. He lived while 241 others, including his own brother, did not. The human cost of this disaster extends far beyond one family's story. The passenger manifest reads like a map of shattered lives and broken connections. It included 169 Indians, 53 Britons, 7 Portuguese, and 1 Canadian. One family buried 4 members who were returning home after an Eid al-Adha reunion, a celebration that turned into a devastating farewell. For many families, the agony was compounded by the horrific state of the crash site. The intense fire left many victims burned beyond recognition, turning the painful process of identification into a prolonged and agonizing ordeal for those left behind, waiting for answers that were slow to come. These are the stories that form the true heart of this tragedy. They are stories of loved ones lost in an instant, of futures erased, and of a community bound together by shared grief. The headlines speak of a plane crash, of statistics and investigations, but the reality is written in the tears of families who have lost everything. Each of the 260 victims, both on the plane and on the ground, had a name, a life, and people who loved them. The crash of AI-171 wasn't just an aviation incident. It was a profound human tragedy that has left a void in countless lives across the globe. With the rescue and recovery efforts transitioning into a full-scale investigation, the focus has now shifted to a meticulous search for answers. The central question is stark. What brought down a Boeing 787 Dreamliner, an aircraft with an impeccable safety record until this incident? Leading the probe is India's Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau, but the global nature of this disaster has necessitated a worldwide effort. Experts from the U.S. National Transportation Safety Board, British authorities, and specialists from both Boeing and the engine manufacturer GE have converged on Ahmedabad to assist in piecing together this complex puzzle. The first major breakthrough came quickly. Amid the sprawling debris field, search teams located the two most critical pieces of evidence: the black boxes. The cockpit voice recorder was discovered on a rooftop near the crash site on June 13th, followed by the flight data recorder, which was pulled from the main wreckage 3 days later. These devices are the silent witnesses to the aircraft's final moments. They hold the key to understanding the pilot's actions, the conversations in the cockpit, and the precise technical failures that may have occurred as the plane began its fatal descent from the sky. By June 25th, investigators announced they had successfully downloaded the data from the forward recorder. The initial analysis is reportedly narrowing in on two key areas: the performance of the aircraft's engines and the status of its emergency power generator, which was apparently operating at the time of the crash. The flight data confirms the plane struggled to gain altitude, losing power and control just seconds after becoming airborne. Every piece of data, every second of audio, is being scrutinized to reconstruct the chain of events that led to the failure. This process is slow, deliberate, and painstaking. In response to the crash, Air India has taken immediate precautionary measures, grounding its entire fleet of 33 Boeing 787s for comprehensive safety inspections. This has caused significant disruptions to its international flight schedule, but it is a necessary step to ensure public confidence and safety. Meanwhile, Boeing's shares took a significant hit on the stock market, reflecting the gravity of the first-ever fatal crash involving its flagship Dreamliner. The pressure is immense, not just to find the cause, but to ensure that a tragedy of this magnitude can never happen again. The crash of Air India Flight 171 sent shockwaves far beyond the city of Ahmedabad. Leaders from around the world were quick to express their sorrow and offer support. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi described the disaster as heartbreaking beyond words, a sentiment echoed across the nation. In the United Kingdom, which lost 53 of its citizens, Prime Minister Keir Starmer and King Charles III offered their deepest condolences and pledged full cooperation with the investigation. The tragedy has forged a somber bond between nations, united in grief and a shared determination to uncover the truth. This incident stands as the deadliest aviation accident in over a decade and the worst in India since a mid-air collision in 1996. It has shaken the foundations of the commercial aviation industry, particularly because it involved the Boeing 787 Dreamliner. This aircraft was hailed as a technological marvel, a new standard in safety and efficiency. Its first fatal accident has raised urgent and uncomfortable questions for the manufacturer and for airlines worldwide. The investigation's findings will be scrutinized by the entire industry, as its outcome could have far-reaching implications for flight safety protocols and aircraft design for years to come. A preliminary report from the Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau is expected within the next few weeks, which should provide the first official glimpse into the likely causes of the crash. However, the full detailed investigation will take many months, if not longer. For the families of the victims, this waiting period is an agonizing limbo. They are desperate for answers, for a clear explanation of what went wrong, and for accountability. They need to know why their loved ones were taken from them so suddenly. Their search for closure is now tied directly to the methodical, painstaking work of the investigators sifting through the wreckage. As the world watches and waits, the story of AI-171 serves as a sobering reminder of the fragility of life and the immense trust we place in technology and the people who operate it. The search for answers is more than a technical exercise. It is a moral imperative. It is a promise made to the 260 people who lost their lives on that tragic June morning, and to the countless others who loved them. The pursuit of truth is the only path forward, the only way to honor the memory of the lost and to ensure our skies remain safe for all. The investigation continues.